They wasn't scared of the judge, because he was real polite. Showed him a lot of respect and let him know that he appreciated him sitting there as jurors, through this long trial. And they wasn't scared of the prosecutors because they wasn't on trial. They was just doing their job. They was at work every day. So the only person in the courtroom to be scared of, they wasn't scared of defense attorneys because they was doing their job every day. Only people in the courtroom to be scared of or think all this is for can be the defendants.
The jury found Edmond guilty of a massive drug conspiracy and sentenced him to life without parole.
I always knew throughout the whole trial that we was going to get found guilty.
The FBI got a tip from an informant that Rayful was setting up deals from the prison at Lewisburg.
Edmond's drug activities while incarcerated surpassed in volume and in scope the drug distribution network that he developed and ran prior to his imprisonment.
Communication between the capitals of Colombia, one of the drug-producing centers of the world, and the United States, one of the drug-consuming centers of the world, exists on two levels.
His cellmate at USP Lewisburg was the third largest cocaine dealer in the world, Chiqui Osvaldo Trujillo Blanco.
One of the sons of Griselda Blanco, who was one of the original founders of the Medellin Cartel.
He's sitting on top of a family empire in Colombia manufacturing cocaine. Rayful knew when he was back on the street, he made all these connections.
Played the tapes for him with his voice setting up drug deals.
You sent any money already? You sent any money?
We had the undercover officer there that you could meet and see who we'd actually had arranged for drugs with Ray, with the evidence we had against him, how long we'd been investigating him.
I have no problem using snitches. You have to prove the cases under our system of laws.
He told us that he'd been thinking about this for a very long time.
He'd already made a decision that when they stepped to him, he was going to cooperate.
We arranged for him to call us, collect at an undercover apartment, and then instead of his friends and family three-way phone calls, we would three-way the phone call for him.
You beep your source, he gets back to you on the number, you make your arrangements, and it's normally by public telephones, which make interception by electronic surveillance.
And that's how we set it up. They would call me and I would call back.
We were very surprised that Rayful was hoping for this.
Well, right now it's kind of sad. Because when I'm in jail most of the time, I'm separated from everybody. They keep me locked down. I don't like that. I'd rather be just an ordinary prisoner. I don't want to be looked at like I'm different than any other human being that's in jail. I'm just like them. I'm in jail right now.
What about your mother?
My mother?
Your mother on tape talking about you.
I don't know if she was talking about me or who she was talking about.
In the war on drugs, one of the most important weapons the government uses is the informant. With mandatory minimum penalties now for drug offenses, the pressure is on to name names. But with so much at stake, can an informant be trusted to be telling the truth? By the early 90s, the government was paying informants or snitches more than $100 million a year. They paid thousands of others by reducing their sentences.
You ever wake up in the middle of the night and say, I'm 25 years old, and they tell me I'm going to have to spend the rest of my life here?
Nah, I don't never wake up and say that because I don't believe it. I don't believe that I'm going to spend the rest of my life in jail because I don't think that was meant for me to spend the rest of my life in jail, so I just don't look at it like that. I honestly don't believe it. I never even thought about it as far as just knowing I'm going to be there even 10 or 15 years. I just know something is going to happen good and I'm going to eventually get out.
He walked confidently toward the police helicopter, turned and mouthed these words. Look closely. Rayful Edmond.
Hello, my beloved HMTV viewers. I'm glad you are watching. And for the new person here, please kindly subscribe. So, as most of us have already known, that one of the notorious drug kingpin, Rayful Edmond, has passed away at the age of 60 years old. He will always be remembered as a notorious drug kingpin who dominated Washington, D.C.'s cocaine trade during the 1980s. He passed away December 17, 2024, at a halfway house in Florida, just months after being transferred from federal prison to community confinement. Edmond was a central figure in D.C.'s crack cocaine epidemic, controlling a significant portion of the city's drug market. His operations were linked to numerous homicides and contributed to a surge in violent crime during that era. In 1989, at the age of 24, he was arrested and sentenced to life in prison without parole. While incarcerated, Edmond continued his drug activities, leading to an additional 30-year sentence. However, he later cooperated with authorities, providing information that led to numerous convictions and assisting in efforts to curb prison drug trafficking. In July 2024, Edmond was transferred to community confinement under the supervision of the Bureau of Prisons' Nashville Residential Reentry Management Office. He was expected to be released in November 2025. Rayful Edmond III's relationship with the federal government became a significant aspect of his story after his arrest in 1989. Initially known as a ruthless drug kingpin who controlled much of Washington, D.C.'s cocaine trade, Edmond later became a federal informant in an effort to reduce his sentence. Here's a breakdown of his relationship with federal authorities. First and foremost, following his conviction in 1989, Edmond received a life sentence without parole. However, that didn't stop him from operating his drug business within the prison premises. So this led to additional charges and a 30-year sentence. Secondly, in the 1990s, Edmond agreed to cooperate with the federal government. He used to always provide information regarding drug operations, including connections to the Colombian cartels, and also assisted in the prosecution of other traffickers. So after his positive cooperation with the federal authorities, numerous arrests were made, and this really helped to shed light on how drug networks operated both on streets and in prison premises. So Edmond's decision to cooperate was met with scorn in criminal circles, where being labelled a snitch is considered a betrayal. This tarnished his reputation among those who once idolised him as a powerful figure. Due to the risks associated with his cooperation, Edmond was placed in witness protection, even while serving time in federal custody. So later, the federal prosecutors acknowledged his extensive cooperation, and there were discussions about reducing his sentence. This eventually led to his transfer to community confinement in 2024, with an expected release in 2025. Edmond's relationship with federal authorities highlighted the complex dynamics between law enforcement and high-profile criminals, raising questions about the role of informants in the justice system. Edmond's cooperation marked a significant shift in his life, transforming him from a feared drug lord to a figure whose information helped dismantle parts of the drug trade he once controlled. So what are your thoughts on Rayful Edmond's decision to cooperate with the authorities? And please let me know in the comments section. May his soul rest in eternal peace.